Hello again, wrestling fans, and welcome to a very special timing for our podcast. Some plans came up for tomorrow, so our normal Thursday night 8 p.m. show is bumped to today and right now. Hope you catch us regardless of where you are watching us, whether it's live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook right now, Wednesday, as I'm talking to you at 8:35. Thank you for joining us in this impromptu thing. Or you can always catch us on podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcasts from. We're part of the Ontario Independent Wrestling Network here in Ontario and the Johners Podcasting Network in the UK. So everywhere you can find us, we are available. Today we are going to just run down some of the events that have happened lately, like Impact Wrestling Sacrifice. We're going to look forward to the return of the NWA with Back for the Attack. Look at some news. We'll run down the Fastlane card that's going to happen this Sunday, as well as the NWA card. And then we'll give an update on the Ontario Indy March Madness tournament that Stephen O'Neill and I have been running this whole month on our Facebook page. And speaking of Stephen O'Neill, we're going to bring him in from Toronto. Hello, Steven. How are you?
Oh, it's just lovely. Don't lie. We don't have anything planned tomorrow. Just tell them the truth. We didn't want to fucking watch the shitty AEW and talk about it tomorrow.
Well, there's that
stress last week that I had a migraine for like 4 days.
Yeah, that's why you didn't end up joining, because you knew what was coming. It can cause that, especially after pay-per-view and everything. Yeah, I got NXT on the screen beside me, but we'll catch up on anything that is important for next week's show. And
let's just tell them there's a ripoff of the Four Horsemen coming on, all abduction wrestling.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do like to do their abductions, and I think you're spoiler right now. It's called Pinnacle, but yeah, I did hear that the final match, the lights out thing with what is it, Rosa and Britt Baker, I guess stole the show. But when you're able to do some different effects without fans, whatever.
That's called petty theft. That's called petty theft, stealing that show.
Yeah. So we're going to look back at last weekend. Just look at Impact Wrestling Sacrifice. Decay beat Reno Scum. Tennille Dashwood, or just Tennille, and
Caleb with a K.
Caleb with a K. Why do I keep on spelling his name wrong? Caleb with a K beat Havoc and Nevaeh in a intergender match there. Violence by Design beat Sabin and James Storm. Eddie Edwards beat Brian Myers. Fire and Flava retained the women's tag team, or knockouts tag team titles over Jordan Grace and Jazz. And I've heard that Jordan Grace possibly wants to leave and go to WWE. Ace Austin took the X Division title from TJP. Deonna Purrazzo retained her knockouts title over ODB by submission. Finjuice, which is David Finlay and Juice Robinson from New Japan, came over to Impact and took the tag team titles from the Good Brothers, which I didn't see that happening, especially with everything that AEW's been trying to set up with the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks. So I guess they're not going to be belt collectors on the tag team scene.
They're having a rematch on the 24th of April.
So maybe they'll get them back. But yeah, so that happened. Rich Swann ended up taking all the gold by beating Moose and merged the Impact Championship and the TNA title, which just got reinstated by Scott D'Amore. So Rich Swann will go on to face Omega on April 24th at Rebellion for winner takes all with the gold. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to look at that card, because of what's leading up to that match on an Impact card, but with Omega doing his belt collecting. I'm actually surprised that they did that instead of having a no contest and do a three-way and have Omega take all the titles. And if he brings his AAA title, just for that visual they'll want to do, and basically have a whole jizz session over how much gold Omega is going to have. But I also found out that on the same night as WrestleMania Night 1, Impact is going to do on Impact Plus a Hardcore Justice event. I don't know if that's a smart move by Impact Wrestling or not, because regardless, they're both going to be on a pay service. All right, especially thing in the US, you're going to get it on Peacock for WrestleMania for $5 or $10 if you're getting it commercial free, versus whatever Impact charges. I know it's $7.99 here in Canada to have it. Which one are you going to actually go for? You're already struggling to get watchers on for Impact, and you're going to go against WrestleMania.
Yeah, that.
Why does my head hurt for that?
Because I don't really get necessarily why they're doing this, because they struggle to get people to watch their pay-per-views to begin with. And the next thing you know, you're going now against WrestleMania Night 1. And this is a pay-per-view concept, Hardcore Justice, that hasn't been done in, I think, 6 or 7 years. So I just don't get it.
It's like, why not do it on the afternoon of that? If you want to be like how a lot of wrestling companies do around WrestleMania City and do a ton of events back to back, I could understand that and go, fine, do it. But I think it's against it at the same time. It just doesn't.
It is, and let's get real. Looking at what WWE is already doing that week. Monday's the Raw, Tuesday's the Hall of Fame, Wednesday is NXT Stand and Deliver Night 1, Thursday Stand and Deliver Night 2, Friday SmackDown, Saturday is WrestleMania Night 1, Sunday is WrestleMania Night 2. That doesn't include your Impact show on Tuesday. That doesn't include Shit Show AEW on Wednesday. That doesn't include MLW on that Wednesday. That doesn't include AEW Dark Elevation or whatever they're fucking calling it on Elevation. Monday. That doesn't include Tuesday's AEW Dark. That doesn't include NWA Power if they have the show yet, because I know they're taping in from the 21st to the 24th. So, and I'm sure God knows I'm missing all the independent shows that are happening down in Florida, like at WrestleMania, all the Lord, there is not enough. No, like I don't know how we're going to tape that week
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy week. We're going to figure that one out somehow. That's also not including, you mentioned everything else up to WrestleMania night 2, but there's the fallout on Raw the next night. There's apparently going to be NXT on the Tuesday, probably because of NHL hockey. So that's 9 days straight of just WWE content.
Oh, and then you're going to have AEW on the Wednesday, MLW on the Wednesday, your Impact on the Tuesday, your Elevation, your Dark, your no, why? I get it that you want to have another pay-per-view as an Impact Plus. Do it the week before.
Yeah, they get some more eyes on them.
Here's the thing, I don't know how we're going to watch what we have to watch without ripping our hair out. I'm not adding a TNA pay-per-view to this.
No.
There is not enough hours going on. I'm already looking at my DVR off of, because I have the WWE Network on Rogers on the cable box. Oh Lord. I'm how in the hell am I going to do all this and still work?
And it's not even counting all the specials that they might put out, the documentaries and the Stone Cold sessions and all this other stuff. It's going to be an insane month of April that anybody who can make it out without alcoholism is going to be a hero, really.
Well, I'm just looking and thinking, and then the WWE has those the biography shows coming out on A&E, and then the Treasure Show right after it. It's a 2-hour biography, and then I don't know if it's going to be I'm assuming an hour from 10 to 11.
And I think that starts on the 18th or something.
Yeah. Which is great. I can record that. I can watch it at my leisure on the Monday. But, I mean, and then Impact has another pay-per-view on the 24th.
Yeah.
Rebellion. You don't need to pay-per-views.
Why do you need hardcore justice is beyond me, but that's happening. So we've actually just run everything that's supposed to happen in April at the same time. So good luck, wrestling fans. We're going to try and keep up to date on as much as possible. I might have to recruit Jonesy to watch some stuff and at least see what we can't. Just so
there's not a fucking chance we're going to have a chance to watch half that stuff and still record.
Yeah. Well, I think Thursday is our lifesaver slight bet. Might be after the paper, the second half of NXT, but we'll see what we can do.
Fuck, no, I can't. We're not going to tape at 10 o'clock plus late at night. Oh Lord.
We can maybe catch up and watch that as it's happening. We'll make it work out. Just looking at some news, there's actually not much in the news that wasn't repeated so many times. Nikki Bella ended up posting a picture of herself getting back into shape and back to her pre-baby form. She'd love to get back into the ring and maybe even team with Brie to go after the women's tag team titles. They didn't exist when they were wrestling. And so who knows if that's going to happen. They also want to do it when their kids are old enough. So that's a big question. But the biggest question is, will her neck even hold up?
I mean, we've seen there be enough stuff you could do. If she wants one match, WWE wants to have her have a match, you can have a cinematic match. You can have things. If WWE really wants her to have a match, you could have a match, because we all know if Sting, who's probably got one of the worst necks out there,
true,
and WWE does the cinematic matches. Actually, I mean the Sting Darby Allin match, because Darby Allin did it with his, which was not bad, but WWE can do the cinematic matches a lot better. So if the Bellas want to have a match, they will have a match, either a cinematic or something.
Yeah.
If they want to, if WWE will let them have a send off.
Yeah, they're going to be part of the Hall of Fame ceremony on the Tuesday because it's a double shot, and they were supposed to be part of the 2020 class. Drew McIntyre accidentally dropped an F-bomb on Raw Talk the other day, and I guess because of the 7-second delay, it got caught before it made it to public and got censored. But he was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Scottish. Go figure." It's just part of vernacular. So, your thoughts on the fact that he's in sort of this setup with Sheamus that's going nowhere because he's constantly beating Sheamus and getting an automatic title shot against Lashley at WrestleMania?
I mean, I think we both called once Lashley won Miz got the title, it was going to be something different. I am excited to see Lashley McIntyre at WrestleMania because I actually think that will be a really good match. I would guess that closes out night 1, and you're gonna have Edge, Roman close out night 2. But I mean, I think that it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think they're going to be surprising with the lack of build in a way for WrestleMania, because right now we should have known more of the card, but I think they're going to go steamrolling through that and just set everything up as soon as this Monday coming up. They'll know a lot more, and I feel that the card that's happening on Sunday, Fastlane, it could almost be basically a Saturday night's main event, just setting up WrestleMania instead of it being a separate pay-per-view. It kind of is odd that they're doing that.
Not as much odd as because you're not paying for the pay-per-views anymore.
No, it's a setup for them transferring over to Peacock, and it's like a test run to make sure that's working, I guess, in a way.
I mean, I would much rather them call it something else than Fastlane. They could have done a Sunday night main event. So something that you could have.
Even 5 years ago, they did the Rico Center and called it Roadblock. So it was like a bump in the road to WrestleMania. But it is what it is. Bad Bunny also kind of swore on Raw this past week when he got hit in the back of the with the guitar from Miz and went down. He ended up saying "Mama Bicho," and apparently that is Puerto Rican for basically translating into "suck my dick." So the censors didn't catch that one because apparently they're not Puerto Rican to know different languages. But that's how we felt about getting the guitar shot from Miz. They're going to be steamrolling that one probably to get the tag team match for WrestleMania with Miz and Morrison against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Miro and Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and Jim Cornette, all in a little bit of a war of words on Twitter. Miro and company rallying fans to do a lot of tweets at Jim Cornette for basically calling Penelope Ford a slut.
Whoa. He didn't call her a slut.
But we're talking in character. And Cornette had a response on the drive-through. So, as a Jim Cornette fan, do you want to highlight all this bullshit that was going on with Miro and friends?
Yeah. So Cornette, to last week on the drive-through, or maybe I think it was last week. Could have been the last week's experience that came out. Not this last Saturday, but whatever. In the last week, he basically was talking about Kip Sabian, Miro, and Penelope. So he calls Miro the Bulgarian Bluto, which is the greatest nickname that he's given him. And he calls Kip Sabian Pip. And basically, it was the Revolution because he was making fun of that match. And he says Penelope Ford, it's Pip Sabian and his middle school slutty looking girlfriend. Didn't call her a slut. Miro then says that he was going to drive to Cornette's basement, and Kip would sit shotgun. And then this week yesterday when the drive-thru dropped, Cornette spent about the first 30 minutes chewing Miro and Kip Sabian up and Penelope and spit them out. And he basically said he wants them to keep challenging him because he'll just keep making fun of them. And I mean, he never called Penelope.
He called the character.
Well, he said slutty little middle school. He never called her a slut. It was the character. And isn't that Penelope's gimmick? She's exactly. Not dressed like a holier than that angel.
No, and the gimmick she had with the bad boy Joey Janela or Jelly Nutella, it's her character, and they don't seem to be able to divide the character from the person in this regards. And she even lashed out at Corny for the words that were used and brought up personal things with his family. And he's just like, my wife is not a public figure. Go away. And you guys are, and you guys are characters. And that's what he's talking about. So for people who, I guess, are going to probably use Jim Cornette to try and get some fame, their own right. Hopefully it's an adventure, because he said that all the tweeting that came out also was perfect timing for him to reopen his store. So he was getting hits and selling out merchandise.
I went and bought another shirt. I was going to buy some of his action figures, but they're not off the boat yet from China. That's lost. So I'm excited. I have a thank you, fuck you, bye face mask coming because I'm going to wear it out in public just so people stay away from me. And I have a thank you, fuck you, bye shirt, and I have some DVDs coming. That's at jimcornette.com.
Very good. So, if you're a fan of Jim Cornette and like some of the barbs he ends up throwing back at people, or just some of the commentary he uses, maybe not the most politically correct, which has gotten him into trouble, but, bubble wrap society. Suck it up, Buttercup. Enjoy
he was never someone to coddle someone. He hasn't changed. So if you don't like it, fuck off.
So Andrade has tried to get out of his WWE contract. He's engaged to Charlotte Flair, but he's not getting the Charlotte rub at all. And that request was denied. I guess he's got some conflict with Bruce Pritchard over promises that Bruce has said for character and storyline. But some people like Booker T are thinking, you'd probably be in a prime spot if your English was better or could communicate better with the office and fans and relate. Your thoughts on Andrade trying to get out, or what he needs to do to get better and stay? Like he was successful in NXT, but
I mean, here's the thing. He was great in NXT. He was great with Selena Vega. He's a great wrestler. We both know why he wanted this out of his NXT contract. He's looking at that money mark, Tony Khan, and thinking, I can go get me some
Tony money.
Yeah, like real, like stupid money. And then I think WWE is dropping the ball with him. I think him and Aleister Black, they haven't been seen on TV in like 5 months.
Yeah, since the draft.
I get it when Andrade had a procedure on his shoulder. Fine, keep him off till he's ready. But those two guys are guys that should be stars in the main roster. It has everything to do. Let's get real. It has everything to do with Selena Vega leaving.
Well, at the same time, if you're not going to use them because Vince doesn't like them or doesn't see anything in them, because I guess Paul Heyman saw stuff in them, but he got released from his Raw role, so guys like those are not getting the push. If they were successful in NXT, I'd send them back to NXT and have them work. Why are you paying somebody money to sit at home? And you could use an Aleister Black. Imagine him going back to NXT and Aleister Black with Cross.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. The NXT roster is stacked enough that they have a tough time finding time for everyone.
And that's why we're going to get NXT Evolution or Evolve.
Well, yeah, my thing is I don't know who on the main NXT roster drops down, who's not ready. That's the one difference between AEW and NXT. You get a lot of green on AEW, so that's why they needed the
7 hours of
jobber. They need the dark, and they need the elevation show. Unfortunately, WWE doesn't have that problem right now with their roster where it's so green. So yeah, you could put some of these guys, men and women, down on a lower tier show, but I think they're too good for that. So I mean, there's guys on the main roster that I would rather not see anymore. Otis. I love Chad Gable, but he's going nowhere. I'm not a fan of Baron Corbin. I think he's become stale. I think the character at one point had a chance. He's a great wrestler. Like, he's an adequate wrestler, but it's stale.
He's got sort of that X-Pac go away heat.
My problem is other than shave his head, he's been King Corbin, and I don't know. There's something missing with him. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, Dominic Mysterio. He's not ready for the main roster. He's only there because his dad is Rey Mysterio. Unless you're going to, the WWE really, unfortunately, needs to start not bringing back Edges and that. I love Edge, but they've got to look long term. Who's the future?
Yeah, they haven't been building that, and I find it odd though. Edge was saying, "Oh, he's not going to be a part timer," but we haven't seen him.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that might have something to do with quarantining.
Could be, yeah.
I'm just guessing that either that or he's been down in the performance center doing a lot of training, like in ring.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are the only two guesses I have.
Yeah, and speaking of quarantine, NXT apparently had another outbreak because they were building a ring somewhere and people weren't wearing their masks, and tests have come back with positives. So I really, even though I have NXT up here, I haven't noticed who's missing fully, but they can stretch out stuff so much that it's not as noticeable at the moment. But
the only person I've noticed so far is they just did Cameron Grimes photos. Obviously photoshopped.
Yeah.
That's it.
So it could be
Then
somebody
I've noticed
like him.
that because I think I didn't start watching right away, but I think LA Knight's supposed to be wrestling tonight. I mean, here's the thing. Both companies, AEW and WWE, are in Florida. Where, let's get real, COVID, their governor kind of basically let everything go. It's just going to be, it's inevitable that there's going to be outbreaks. I'm surprised, and I almost will put money on it. McMahon will buy a shit ton of vaccines for his performers. Oh, and they will get it before. Well, exactly. Money's going to talk, and he needs to get the vaccines in people's arms. Look at, I don't know if you saw, Dana White is having 15,000 people in an indoor arena in Jacksonville, I think, for a UFC card. And my head almost popped off.
Well, Toronto Blue Jays and the Rangers
in Texas, we're going to have a full fucking stadium. And it's like 42,000 people. And I'm like, oh, Lord.
Yep, kind of crazy. Well, speaking of people in Texas and stuff like that, and tickets got delayed for WrestleMania for Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. They were supposed to go on sale yesterday, but they had to reconfigure some stuff and do protocols. And I thought at one point they were trying to go to 75% capacity at Raymond James Stadium, which would be about 45,000 people. And I think the change has had to go back to 30 some odd thousand, but they're going to have to obviously wear masks and stay in their little pods. And Vince might actually put in some cardboard cutouts throughout to fill up the rest of the view, which would be about 20,000. So that's getting set to be done soon, and tickets go on sale. It'll be nice to see fans back, but I don't know. Super spreaders, if that becomes a super spreader, what they're going to end up doing afterwards.
Here's the thing. It's America. Every time you go, AEW have people go to their shows. WWE have people go to the NXT shows. You're going to have, I don't even remember when it is, but I think it's before WrestleMania. UFC is going to have 15,000 people jammed into an arena with no social distancing. The Blue Jays are playing in Texas in and around the beginning of April, and there's going to be like 42,000 people in Texas Ranger Stadium with no, like, it's a full house.
Yeah, opening day is April 1st.
Yeah, and it's three, I think it's the 4th or the 5th they're in Texas. Because that's opening for Texas. Rangers. It's going to be there's going to be cases everywhere. I mean, would I go to WrestleMania this year? No. Next year, would I go? Yeah. I'm not a COVID denier. I also am not. I can't. It's been a year. I can't live in fear much more.
No, and you have had it, so.
Exactly. And not even just that, like, I have friends here in Toronto that I have one friend who, him and his partner are positive with COVID with no symptoms. At some point, unfortunately, the world's going to start getting back to get normal. And super spreader events and stuff are going to be a thing that we're not going to talk about anymore. Yeah. I think it's a little early for 30,000 people at WrestleMania, but I guarantee you they will sell all 30,000 tickets each night easily.
Oh, yeah. It won't be hard. And then you'll have all those little indie outlaw shows going on around there. So
the night after WrestleMania won't be the same, though.
No, I wish Florida the best of luck. Yeah, because all the foreigners won't be there.
Well, not even that. They have that. the night after WrestleMania is always unique, but it's going to be very unique this year. It's going to be quiet and boring.
Well, like last year. Couple other things. Paul Heyman claimed that there's a whole bunch of celebrities who, if they were in their prime, would love to step into the ring with Roman Reigns, and even said he had talks with The Rock about that. Do you ever see Roman and Rock, even though it was rumored, and definitely not anytime soon? Do you see it happening?
No, not a chance.
Okay. Asuka is back, as we saw on Monday, and she looks to be having a little bit more of a mean streak, going after Shayna Baszler the way she did, almost did the curb stomp with her face.
I have an update of WrestleMania Capacity. They've just announced it. It's going to be 25,000 fans per night. Sorry, that I just came up in my feed.
It's all good. But anything else in there?
Nothing that's important. Everything else is boring about it. It's just 25,000. It's going to be obviously spaced and pods and masks, unless you're eating and drinking. I can't see WWE having any fans on the floor.
Yeah, and that's going to be odd, but I think they could do a couple of pods. Like, they're going to have to take an example from New Japan, because they've had their setup for a long while of how they can space people out and have people closer to the ring and everything.
But you're going to have to put up plexiglass, though. I don't know the Florida rules on, but I'm just thinking right now, I'm watching NXT and they have the plexiglass around.
Yeah.
So
cages.
So is that going to be a thing? I don't know. All right, sorry. I took that off on that.
No, it's all good. Nice to have breaking news in a way. So as I said, Asuka's back, and she, I guess, got cleared from her concussion. Went after Shayna Baszler, nearly putting her mouth on the turnbuckle and actually on the ring, and doing a curb stomp, but got stopped. There's a lot of challengers for her wanting the title. Is it going to be Charlotte against Asuka one-on-one? Is Asuka turn heel to set that up? Or are we going to see somebody like Asuka, Charlotte, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Peyton Royce, and whoever else all thrown into a match for the Raw title?
I think you're going to find it's going to be either, I'm guessing, a triple threat. It's either going to be a triple threat or a six-way. And the triple threat, I think, will be Baszler, Flair, Asuka. But if it's a six-way, add fucking Mandy Rose, add Peyton Royce. My problem is I know Peyton Royce had that impassioned speech on Raw Talk, but she's not fucking she's not wrestling.
No.
So I mean, I would like to see her wrestle. I think she's talented, but if you're not wrestling, how are you going to get a title shot? And yes, Flair versus Asuka we've seen. I would like to see a mix-up of that, but
yeah, a nice change would be good to have and help elevate somebody from that lower women's division to upper class, because even when Becky returns, she's going to need somebody other than Charlotte and Asuka.
But who? Mandy Rose isn't a great wrestler, so it's tough to elevate her. Peyton Royce isn't on TV. I think she could be a great wrestler in there, but she's not on TV enough.
Shayna, I think she's stuck in that tag.
Shayna Baszler. would fit in that. You got Rhea Ripley coming, which I think I would assume that should be anytime. I'm watching NXT, and you've got Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, which are a great women's tag team that could come up. It reminds me very much of Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
Yeah, that's a good combination that way, and they could be due for a call-up.
And I know, like, you've got to infuse some fresh blood into this, but I don't know on the Raw side, other than Baszler and potentially Peyton Royce if she was to wrestle, who's got enough talent? And that's not meaning to be disrespectful, but I don't see Mandy Rose. Like, I don't see a Mandy Rose, and I don't see a
Dana Brooke.
Yeah, I don't think they're talented. I think Mandy Rose could be, but right now I couldn't see it being justified. So,
and it's the hole that they've been put into to not make us think of that. One last thing is Christian has been doing a bunch of interviews all over the place. There's actually going to be an interview with him on Sunday night's main event with Jason Agnew this Sunday. So if you follow his podcast, check that out. But the big question has been why did he leave WWE and stuff like that. And he said that he did have talks with WWE after the Royal Rumble match, but he didn't go into any other details and said he wouldn't, other than the fact that creative was not, I guess, in a good place for what they might have had for him. And that's one reason why he ended up leaving. And so now he's over in AEW, almost doing a restart of what he did in 2005 when he went to TNA and had to separate himself from the shadow of Edge. Your thoughts?
But I don't like Christian in AEW. I just think it's going to be something that I think we all regret. Christian going to TNA, Christian still had a lot left in the tank, and there was fresh matchups for him there. And in AEW, what is he going to do? Take on Kenny Omega and take the one-winged angel with a neck that's
and he's instantly put into that program with Kenny Omega, and it kind of diminishes anything that AEW should be, and that should be having new talent. But every time you turn around, other than Kenny Omega, who has been a non-WWE competitor in the title scene, it's all been former WWE guys.
And to me, if Christian signed with AEW, take Paul White out. If Christian signs and he's a commentator / helping out backstage, I'm all for it. I don't see Christian being a game changer in the ring. Not now. 10 years ago, maybe, but not right now. No, like, if he goes to take the one-winged angel, I'm gonna be like, one slip, his neck, because it was his neck, right? He had the same issue that Edge and all them had.
I thought it was,
or was it concussion? Regardless, a one-winged angel he shouldn't be taking, and he's not someone right now that I'm like, ooh, I'm clamoring to see. It was great to see him at Royal Rumble. I would have loved to see him stay in the WWE where you could use him sparingly and
do an Edge and Christian reunion.
Yeah, and you could have had him doing an ambassador role. There's lots of things. AEW, we all know, is going to run him out every week, and he's going to get old. The
Just
exact
like
same Sting. Sting is now, they had something. Because even I was shocked when Sting showed up, and I thought, "Oh fuck!"
But and then they use them every week.
Yeah, and if he wants, and I get it, I'm sure they're paying him a handsome, but he's 61 or 62 or whatever. He's on the very downside of his career. Edge has got to be what, in his mid 40s,
47-ish.
So he's on the downside. Paul White for sure on the downside. So,
well, we got Jericho. He's 50.
Yeah, well, that's just a whole nother shit show. But I mean, you have, and this is what we talked about, I don't even know, months ago, about the talent they have, the young talent, the MJFs, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Brian Pillman, Griff Garrison. It looks like Bear Country is, if they're not signed, it looks like they're there a lot. Who else? We went through a list.
Yeah, there's so many young talent that they should be using better and finding a way to get them. Instead, they're throwing them on dark and dark elevation, and occasionally in a clusterfuck match like that Casino Battle Royal tag team thing. But they're just warm bodies instead of being highlights.
Yeah, well, and I'm also looking at, I think, not just like their tag teams, you have FTR. You've got Proud and Powerful.
Getting lost.
You've got the Varsity Blondes, which I don't know about you, but they remind me of the Hollywood Blondes. Still a little green, but like
a lot of potential.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got Bear Country, who I know when me and you saw them, made an impression. You have two 300-pound plus guys that move like little guys, and it's impressive. You've got, not a big fan, but you could do a Jungle Boy Luchasaurus. They're serviceable as a big, small tag team. You name the tag, they have so much talent, and this is what pisses me off.
And they cover it up with bringing in former WWE guys in prominent roles.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have a problem. Say Christian came in and was going to mentor Jungle Boy or Darby Allin. Well, not really Darby Allin, because he's got Sting. But if he was coming in to mentor a young guy, we didn't talk about Ricky Starks, Darby Allin. Yep. There's so many young quality potential guys they have, and they just don't know what the fuck they're doing.
So, yeah, we'll save that rant for another day. Let's run down the fact that NWA is returning this Sunday at 4 p.m. on Fight app and wherever else. It's where they get also old episodes of Power got taken off YouTube and put over to the Fight TV app. But the debut of Chris Masters, formerly Chris Adonis, debuts at Back for the Attack. There is also Jordan Clearwater returning for Back to the Attack. Trying to figure out who all they're going to have, because a lot of people end up leaving the NWA during their shutdown time. Tyrus is going to debut for Back for the Attack. And they have a four-way match. I don't have that picture at the moment. But other matches that are going to happen that are confirmed is the Pope defending the TV championship against Tom Latimer. There's a number one contenders match for the women's title, with the winner going against Serena Deeb, but it's Thunder Rosa against Camille. And the NWA 10 pounds of gold is on the line, with Nick Aldis defending against Aaron Stevens, who's the one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions, which I'm trying to remember who his partner was.
J.R. Cronus. He's taking on Tyrus at the show.
Okay, because I got worried for a moment that unfortunately it was question mark.
They're dedicating this show. That's why Aaron Stevens got the world title shot to Josephus. So that's why he got the title shot. I'm like you. I'm worried that NWA has been away for so long because of the speak out issue. They've lost so much talent to other promotions. I really don't know what they're going to have.
Billy Corgan has a lot of work on his hands to rebuild, but I guess it's somewhat of a good idea that they're doing it on Sunday and in the afternoon at 4 o'clock before Fastlane, so that maybe they'll get people watching that it will go over to Fastlane type deal.
I don't expect this pay-per-view to be. I haven't looked what the cost is, but I assume it's going to be in that like $9.99-ish range,
probably,
which is fine. You're not going to get a great. It's going to be an okay show. And I'm excited for Power.
Yeah, they announced that Power is back next week. I enjoyed watching Power. I'm just trying to find out if I can see what the price is for the NWA show. While we do,
my only concern with Power is it was live on, or not live, but every Tuesday at 6:05 it came on YouTube. Well, since they're on the Fight Net or the Fight app, I don't want to pay for it, and I won't pay for it. I mean, I think Nick Aldis should be in a WWE or AEW, and I really thought at one point recently that they were going to be merging the AEW and NWA.
So just checking the app right here, that way.
Mm-hmm.
$27.99 in Canada for the Back for the Attack, which they're saying I could buy with $20 fight credit. So that would be $20 in the US. So $9.99, $19.99 probably for it in the US, $27.99 here in Canada on the Fight app.
Like, this is why
you have to be really a hardcore wrestling fan to get that. Unfortunately,
and I'm
that's
a hardcore NWA, obviously. Not a fucking high holy hell am I spending 30. Oh my sweet mother of Jesus. Did you see who just showed up to NXT? Give it a minute, because I know you're on a delay.
I'm not sure. I'm seeing Ciampa get his hand raised.
Okay, give it a minute. I want to get your reaction to this.
Okay. Oh, I got a light on. I don't know why I'm on a delay, because I'm on Start TV cable. And a big X. And Walter. He called out Walter.
So that means, I'm assuming, because Walter is talking this week on NXT UK, I'm assuming he's giving up the NXT UK title.
He doesn't necessarily have to do that. He might be saying that he's going to defend the title at one of the 2 nights of Stand and Deliver.
But
all
it's
NXT, and
it's time for him to be on the main roster, like the main NXT.
Yeah, but the problem is he doesn't really want to travel too much. I did meet him in summer of 2019 at the Smash show. I have a picture taken with him. But, Jordan Devlin even returned on this show, and he's going to be having the unified cruiserweight title happening. So, yeah, that's something to look forward to when they do TakeOver Stand and Deliver.
Sorry, I saw it and I was like, my jaw hit. I expected Walter to show up sooner than later.
Well, he's held the title for almost 2 years.
Here's the thing. It's time for him to give up that title, come over to the States, and
get some challenges.
Well, it's fresh matchups. You're going to have... Can you imagine Walter versus Karrion Kross? Walter versus Finn Balor? Walter versus Kyle O'Reilly? Walter versus...
So many opportunities, yeah.
Adam Cole? Walter versus... And I don't expect Walter to stay in NXT long. I expect him to be the main roster. Because he has... Let's get real. World Championship written all over him.
Oh, yeah. He just needs to be willing to stay in North America long enough. That was one reason why he's been on UK for as long as he has.
Let's get real. It's all about dollars. If Vince McMahon wants you to stay, there's enough dollars to add.
So there's a huge surprise that way. Just in time probably for the Lights Out match happening on AEW soon, depending on how long that one goes. But let's look at this Sunday, the bump in the road of Fastlane. Sunday on the WWE Network, a rematch from the last pay-per-view for no apparent reason. The women's tag team titles are on the line with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending against the number one contender for the SmackDown Championship, Bianca Belair, and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. Thoughts?
It's going to be a great match because 3 out of the 4 can wrestle. One of these things just don't belong.
Unfortunately, I kind of agree that it's going to be a decent match, but the women's tag titles are not going to go anywhere, and Bianca and Sasha will probably have an eruption, which will lead more fuel to their match at WrestleMania, unless they pull a swerve on us and give them the titles, and you have champion versus champion, because we've seen Shawn against Austin, and they were tag team champions together. And a few other times that's happened.
I don't think that's switching, but who knows anymore.
And a why is this happening match? Shane against Braun. We saw Shane McMahon dump green slime on Braun on Monday.
I don't think this match happens. I think this is setting up for some sort of spot fest at WrestleMania.
Yeah, sadly, like I said, it's more setup stuff for it's going to happen at Mania, which includes this one, an intergender match, supposedly, of Bliss against Orton. She's been wanting The Fiend to come back, so I don't see this match actually happening. That was my thought on this one. And The Fiend shows up, and that's where we get Firefly Funhouse 2, except for we see Orton's life in the This Is Your Life manner.
I hope The Fiend comes back, but I don't want it to be a Firefly Funhouse 2 because we saw it the first time, and I don't ever want to see it again.
Just a reminder that this is setting up for WrestleMania, and coming up around WrestleMania time, we're going to be launching the just in time for WrestleMania, the Scumbags Prediction League. So we'll be actually doing this where fans will put in their predictions, make their picks, and earn points for a prize at the end of the season. We will announce more things later on, but definitely look out for the Scumbags Prediction League on Facebook, and we'll keep you up to date.
Please don't. We're too busy. Please just leave us alone. Please, sir. Please.
No, we're going to have fun with the Prediction League. Prizes, fun.
we were talking before.
I had a good response at Royal Rumble time, so I'm going to keep it going. Fastlane also has Sheamus against Drew McIntyre for no apparent reason, because Drew McIntyre has the world title match with Bobby Lashley coming up, and Sheamus has been beat so many times by McIntyre. What do you see happening?
Oh, McIntyre's winning, but I assume it sets up some sort of feud for Sheamus for WrestleMania.
I can hope so.
I assume it's got to spin out for something for Sheamus, because he's just been the whipping boy of Drew McIntyre for a while. So I don't know who it would be, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is it's a spin for Sheamus to go off for something for WrestleMania.
Yeah. Can always hope. Intercontinental title is on the line with the newly turned heel, true African American Apollo Crews challenging Big E for the championship. New champ or still champ?
No, it's still champ. Is that's from SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still champ.
Okay, and ideally the main event of the night will be Dana Bryan challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Part that's not in here is that this Friday, Jey Uso and Edge are going to go against each other, and the winner of that is going to be the special enforcer of the match, and ideally it's going to be Edge. So the three of them will be here. New champ, still champ, three-way at WrestleMania, or still the same plans of Roman and Edge?
I think that it actually may be set up a three-way, because I'm wondering, can Edge do what they... I'm wondering if they're having regrets, or...
Yeah, I can see that in a way. And maybe Edge is not as healed up as planned, because when he won the Royal Rumble, he lasted a long while, and he also was saying to people who were saying, oh, he's just a part-timer and not going to be around. And he's like, oh, no, I'm going to be there every week and blah, blah, blah. And he hasn't. I know you mentioned it could be a COVID issue and stuff like that, and I get that. But if there's any other physical issues, maybe that's why they need to insert Daniel Bryan, who had been almost looking to do Bryan and Reigns at WrestleMania, but they're doing it Fastlane instead. So I can see where it could be a three-way as well, with a new champion, Daniel Bryan.
I think a three-way would be better, because you can protect Edge a little more of the, like, neck-wise.
Yep.
So, yeah, he might be healed, but do you really want to risk it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what WWE's plans are. At the best of times, they'll announce something, and 2 days later it's changed. So
yeah, Vince McMahon seems to have ADHD lately instead of long-term plans. But that's going to be.
Hey, I know you're watching NXT, and then we'll move on. Does the ring seem smaller this week?
It does look like almost like an 18 instead of a 20, but I don't know why they'd have two different sizes of rings when, if you're going up to the main roster, maybe it's just the camera angles.
I don't know. It just seems small. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, keep moving. Sorry, I was just thinking that it looks really tiny, and
anything's possible. They are in the Performance Center, and space is limited. But yeah, that is Fastlane that's happening this Sunday on the WWE Network. I believe probably 7:00. As per usual, it's probably going to be a 2.5 hour show. They've been able to do that lately, and even though more big shows, they've been lesser time, so they're kind of balancing out in a way. But that's happening. We'll be right back, and we're going to recap the Ontario Indy March Madness tournament. If you want a variety of wrestling news and history, look no further than the Scumbags of Wrestling family of shows. On Wednesday nights at 6 p.m., join Shawn, Steven, and Jonesy as we look for the best of the best and break it all down in a unique tournament format on Fantasy Warfare Tournament. Then Thursdays at noon, take a look back at the rich history of our great sport with This Week in History. Relive title changes, births, deaths, and some of the best events of all time. Finally, join us for the latest in wrestling news, show results, and predictions Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. The Scumbags of Wrestling can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, along with our audio versions on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcasts from. We're a proud part of the Ontario Indie Wrestling Podcast Network and the Johners Podcast Network. As you saw, where you can get in touch with us and join us for different shows. But we are going to talk about the Ontario Indie March Madness Tournament. It's been since March 1st. 2 votes per day at 7 a.m. and 12 noon-ish, depending on our own personal timing. Today was a little bit. Or if you forget about it. Or if you forget about it, we did have one of those, but we made up for it. We're on track for everything. So how have you been enjoying seeing everything go, Steven?
It's been wild. Thank you for, I think we have, let me look right. I think we're over, I know we're getting close to 600.
Yeah, we've had a lot of new people join the podcast, the Facebook group. And yeah, we just hit 500 just after March started, and we're almost up to 600. So I thank each and every fan that's here. We hope we're providing good content and you enjoy being a part of this. Definitely send us your feedback on any of the things that are running across the screen. We want to be as fan friendly as possible. However, let's break down the tournament because round 1 finished just yesterday. So in the North bracket, we had Violet Lee beat Dexter Grimm. Alec Realm lost to Scumbag Yates. Holden Albright beat Ethan Dukes. Sebastian Swab moved past Joey Allen. Warhead lost to Pretty Ricky. Kevin Blackwood lost to Shiloh. Travis Moore beat Speedball Mike Bailey. And John Greed moved past Stone Rockwell. Do you want to go with the East bracket, Steven?
Yeah, so we had Steve Brown move past Shane Saber. Casey Spinelli beat Rosemary. Lionel Knight beat Allison Kay. Kyle Boone beat Nova. Jay Loon beat Jordan James. Ethan Page beat Sabrina Kyle. Tarek beat Kevin Bennett. And Matt Cash beat Jim Strider.
So that sets up the round 2, which we're doing right now. And today you can still vote for Violet Lee against Scumbag Yates and Steve Brown against Casey Spinelli. The rest of this week has Holden Albright against Sebastian Swab. That's going to be tomorrow, Thursday. Friday is going to be Pretty Ricky against Shiloh. And Saturday is going to be Travis Moore against John Greed. Steven?
Tomorrow, Thursday, you're going to have Lionel Knight versus Kyle Boone. Friday is Jay Loon versus Ethan Page. And Saturday is Tarek versus Matt Cash, which would round out the East second round.
Now looking over at the South bracket, Tyler Arrow beat Tyler Hill in the Battle of Tylers. Josh Alexander upset the two-time champion Tyson Dukes to move on in what would be an amazing main event at any card that you could go see live. Alessandro Del Bruno lost to Daniel Garcia. That would be another match I'd love to see live. Brian White beat Psycho Mike Rollins, and Brian White has quite the contingency backing him. There are a lot of fans in Sarnia that we thank for being a part of the voting process. The Muscle lost to Gabriel Foreza. CC Moss lost to Von Vertigos, and that's going to set up fight or flight going against each other. Frankie TM lost to Carter Mason, and Wade Allen, the Wanderer, beat Bella Bronx, and that's the South Division.
So in the West, we had Jody Threat beat Idris Abraham, Channing Decker beat Joe Coleman, Justin Sane beat Mark Wheeler, who was my pick to win it this year. Space Monkey beat Puff. Antihero SOS Scotty O'Shea beat Rodney Matthews. Alexa Nicole beat Michael Grayson. Beautiful B beat Cody Diener. And Brent Banks beat John Atlas yesterday to round out.
Okay, so that means Sunday you're going to see Tyler Arrow against Josh Alexander. Monday will be Daniel Garcia against Brian White. Tuesday will be Gabriel Foreza and Von Vertigo in the Battle of Fight or Flight, as I said. And Thursday will be Carter Mason against Wade Allen, the Wanderer.
Sunday is Jody Threat, Channing Decker. Monday is Justin Sane, Space Monkey. Yeah, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday is Antihero SOS. Yeah, see, this is what happens sometimes. Antihero SOS, Scotty O'Shea taking on Alexi Nicole. And Tuesday, am I right? This is
Wednesday will be Bia and
Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Thanks. Beautiful B and Brent Banks. This is what happens when you work a full-time job and try to figure, and you get yourself confused on your days.
Yeah, because I screwed up on mine. So as I said, Sunday is Arrow and Alexander. Monday is Garcia White. Tuesday is Ferreira and Frizero and Vertigo. And Wednesday will be Mason Allen. So, yes, definitely get your votes in. We have been enjoying this. I have a couple more videos coming our way. Fans have been enjoying that. It didn't intend to be a promo competition, but the talent have gotten involved with this and have been liking it. I'm going to text a few more and see if they want to submit anything this week in time for their second round matchup. It's not mandatory, but it has been fun. Yeah, so New School Wrestling is also doing a show on March 28th. I'll post more details about that next week. You can always catch Hamilton Wrestling Entertainment. They're going to be on Shaw cable. If you get Shaw, check for times and dates and shows for them. They are going to be doing stuff with Battle Zone because they now own Battle Arts Academy and are partnered up with Anthony Corelli, the former owner of Battle Arts, and now are just partners together. So he's still involved that way, which is awesome. And yeah, you can catch a whole bunch of different podcasts with the Ontario Indie Wrestling Podcasting Network, tons of interviews and different viewpoints of the Ontario scene and wrestling in general. And I believe Saturday in Listowel, Hard Knocks Hard Knocks Wrestling Academy is having an open house on Saturday. So if you want to travel to Listowel, there's another school opening and another place to learn your craft. And yeah, great opportunities await. So check that out. And the other one that I was just thinking of before we get out of here is also Backyard Pro. I mentioned last week they have a GoFundMe, and they're looking to raise about $1,200 to cover expenses because they're filming everything all over the place throughout Ontario. just to keep everybody safe and do individual matches, but it costs for the travel and the expenses for putting it together. That is with Von Vertigo and friends. So check out Backyard Pro if you want to be a sponsor, donate to them. Great, and we'll get some more action out of Backyard Pro. Anything you'd like to promote before we get out of here, Steven?
So this week on Slugging with Steven, this week was featuring Rip Impact. It's at cwnonline.ca. You see there. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know if you read Rip Impact. I remember going to see Rip Impact. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but he's been around the independent Ontario Independents for
a long while. He's part of Hamilton Wrestling Entertainment, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember going to see him for the last little while, so I was excited. I've got some interesting ones coming up. So it drops every Tuesday at about 6 o'clock. And they're all on cwnonline.ca. All the ones all the way back to the first one with Anthony Kingdom through Rip Impact. They're every Tuesday. So I think I don't even know how many are up there now.
I think you're about 8 or 9 weeks.
Yeah, it's been, yeah. I don't know how I have a full-time job, do Sluggin', do Fantasy Warfare, do this podcast, and be a grown adult, like cleaning and groceries. And
we do it because we love wrestling. When it's not fun, we're not going to do it.
Or I have a sick habit of wanting to stress myself out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably the same thing here. So yeah, hopefully earlier tonight you joined us for Fantasy Warfare Tournament. It's always available on YouTube and Facebook, and also our podcast, just like any of our shows. Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Like, share, subscribe, and be a part of the community. Join us on our Facebook page, and you can also wear some of our merchandise. We are part of Pro Wrestling Tees at prowrestlingtees.com /Scumbags Wrestling, and we have 4 designs up there right now. The Ontario Indie Comic Tribute one is for charity, Steven's Wrestling Journey. Any profits from that shirt are going to Curie Malformation Research in Toronto. And you can also get our original logo, the Inspired by Superstars of Wrestling, the Raw War version, or the Scumbags podcast logo on the blue. Amazing shirt when you see it on blue. And it's based off the Survivor Series logo from the 90s. So go to Pro Wrestling Tees, support us, and we'll be able to put up more content and maybe even have better equipment and shows. You never know. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And I think on that note, we are out of here.
Peace.